If I wanted to make 10k a month from property in the fastest and easiest way, I wouldn't buy properties like this or this. Because to make 10k a month from property investing, unless you've got a lot of money in the bank, you're going to struggle to get there. The most straightforward way to make 10k a month in property is through deal sourcing. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 of the properties that we've sourced, how we made £33,000 without owning those properties, and more importantly, how you can start making £10,000 a month from property step by step.
So the very first step to getting to 10k a month is get educated. I always say this because think about it. If you are where you are right now and you haven't made 10k a month, or if you want to make 10k a month but you've never done it, the reason for that is because you don't know how to. Because if you knew how to get to 10k a month, you would have done it by now. So right now you have a knowledge gap. So you need to get educated in property, or the different strategies, how to make money from property, how to add value, how to view properties, all these things. The knowledge gap right now, you need to fill that. And the best way to start off with is books and YouTube. Watch some of my content on YouTube, watch other people's content, fill that knowledge gap. But then I always say that watching YouTube and reading books will only get you so far. It's a great start and you should absolutely do that. But the best example I give is that with a doctor, when a doctor becomes a doctor, they don't do that by watching YouTube videos or videos on Instagram, right? A doctor becomes a doctor because they've acquired knowledge professionally. And if you want to become a professional deal sourcer, if you want to be making 10k a month consistently and build a real business, then at the end of the day, it's important that you get educated properly by someone who's actually done what you're looking to do. So that's step 1, get educated. I'm going to pick up my camera guy now. Morning, Suk. Having trouble. Are you ready today?
I was ready 3 hours ago, mate.
I bet you was. You've just woken up, haven't you?
No, I've been up.
So, quick pit stop. But if you want to become a sourcer, you need to get set up professionally. So step number 2 is to be set up and get compliant. So how do you get compliant and how do you get set up? So the first thing is you have to get a limited company set up. If you've already got a property investment company, you'll need to start a new one because a property investment company is an investment company, whereas this will be a trading limited company. Just remember that you need to use the SIC code. Top of the head, I think it's 68310. So 68310. After you set up your limited company, you need to set up your business bank account and a client business bank account. You can do those together. Then you need to get compliant. First thing to do is set up with the PRS or property ombudsman, and then get your ICO, get your insurance sorted. So that's your professional indemnity insurance, anti-money laundering, and there's a few other bits and bobs. But the good thing is that once you get set up, you're going to give your investors a lot more confidence and a lot more trust that you are a professional sourcer.
So, if anyone is wondering how much does it actually cost to get set up as a sourcer, generally speaking, just under £2,000, so anything between £1,500 to £2,000. And that's the beauty with deal sourcing as well, because unlike property where you need lots of money to get started, as a deal sourcer, as long as you get your education, as long as you get set up properly, which we've already discussed, that's a very low barrier to entry, so it makes it accessible for pretty much everyone. As long as you put the work in, then there's no reason why you can't do what we do.
It's that time again.
It's that time again where we have to charge the car.
Nicely charged. Time to go inside. So the plan for today is that we are visiting 4 properties that we have sourced, and 2 of them are actually on the same street, so that'll be pretty cool to see. So we sourced 2 properties on the same road, and then the other 2 are just down south a bit. So we're just gonna have a quick stop, get another coffee probably, and then get back to it. Car is charged, sun is shining, let's go.
So step 1 was to get educated. Step 2 was to get set up and become compliant. And then the next step, which is step 3, is to build an investor list. Now, one of the most frequently asked questions I get is that, Vijay, should I find a good deal first or should I find an investor? And the reality is, you're not gonna like this, but it should be both. But if you're starting out from absolutely zero, it's important to find an investor first, because if you think about it, you can find the best deal in the world, but it's kind of pointless unless you've got an investor on board. So when you're starting out, you should always focus and offer that bespoke deal to your investor, because when you're starting out, you're not going to find a ton of deals, right? And if you're not going to find a ton of deals, then your competitive advantage should be to provide a better service to the investor. And how you do that is basically finding out all their requirements, and then you go out and find that deal for them. Once you start building up your email list or your investor list, then you can start then focusing on the deal, because that way you've got a lot more investors to target you. But right at the start, you haven't got that luxury. So we are looking for number 17 and 21. They're literally like 5 seconds away from each other.
So we've got some builders at the first property. We just swing the camera around.
What are you guys doing in here? Sorry? I'm actually TikToking, YouTubing and Instagramming. Sorry again?
Live.
No, not live. It's just going to be a video. So yeah, this one's going to be a flip. Most of our properties that we source are buy-to-let BRR because we operate in the Northeast where the rental market is hot and BRR is the best strategy. But this one is a flip because the numbers were good on this. So our purchase price was £144,000. Refurb cost was £50,000. So pre-tax profit, our client is going to make £50,000. And as a result, we're able to charge them £12,000. So they make £50,000 profit, we make £12,000. It's a win-win. Should we go upstairs? Check the shape of this room. Like you can see, guys, here. Well, it's wonky is probably the best way to describe it. However, we do have nice views. Let me just show you around here. I don't know if you can see. Nice views here. Another thing I want to talk about is, guys, that it might come across that I'm talking a lot about deal sourcing. Do not get it twisted. Property investing should be your end goal. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't have the money to get into property. So the reason why I talk about deal sourcing, because for many of you, it could be the way to get into property. And even if you do have access to a lot of money, if you want to make £10,000, think about it. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you've got £300,000 in the bank. To get that £300,000 to be able to generate you 10K a month is going to take you a lot of properties. You have to refurb a lot of properties and it's going to take you a lot of time, right? So even if you do have money, to be able to make that 10K a month is going to take you a long time. Whereas with deal sourcing, that can happen quite quickly. One of the most important things is the end value. The reason why we believe that we can sell this property on for £275,000 because we have two properties that one property has sold for £277,000 and it was 126 square meter, right? So this property is 140, so it's bigger than that property that sold. And then we've got another comparable for £255,000. Every time we sell a property, we always give our clients two sold comparables because that way it gives the client assurance that, yeah, the end value that we give into them or we expecting is not just made up figures. One last thing I forgot to mention is that this property was at the auction, but we were able to secure it from Pattison's pre-auction. So yeah, this was an auction property. The second property is also a flip. So in this area, the house prices, they're a bit higher than what you would normally get in the Northeast. So that's why we're able to flip these properties on because the end value is higher. Also, if you've enjoyed watching this video up to now or you found value from any of my other videos, then please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We've got lots more property content coming soon. This is the first time we've ever had two houses on one road. I think we did that one video, you know, the 24 houses. That's where we had two properties on the same road. So the second one is just over there. So we're gonna walk it. We can't take the car on this one and you'll see it's right over there. I think we've got builders in here as well. Should we give them a surprise?
Hello. Hi guys. Just from talking houses, just come to do some videos. We'll be out of your way. Have you been here long?
This is our second.
So guys, two properties, right? £50,000 profit, £35,000 profit. Clients are going to get £85,000 profit out of those two properties, and we make 12 and 6, 18. So that's how you make money in sourcing. That if you are able to make the investor or your client money, then you make money. It's quite simple. So the beauty of this property is that it's got another floor. So we keep going. White. Let me just swing it around. So to finish off step 3 about finding investors or building a list of investors, some of you are now probably thinking, Vijay, how do I find investors? Now there's many ways. That could be a whole different video. But generally speaking, your investor is someone who has money but doesn't have the time, experience or contacts to do property themselves, because what you'll start noticing is that in order to think about it, the person who wants to buy property is someone who has money. And most likely, if they've got money, then it's most likely, not always, they don't have the time because they have accumulated money through their business or job. They've got a high demanding job or they've got like a business. So that's where you're able to solve their problem because they got the money. They need to leverage your expertise, your skills, your knowledge to be able to get into property. So that's how you're going to find your investor. Places like Facebook groups. You can do social media, one of the most powerful ways. There's LinkedIn. There's so many avenues, even your family, friends. There's someone out there who wants to get into property. who has the money but don't know how to, and that's who your investor is. So one thing I wanted to clarify is that you might be thinking that if deal sourcing is so good, then why do you need to invest in property, right? It's important to remember, guys, that deal sourcing is an income generating activity, okay? You get paid for the time that you put in, okay? Whereas property investing, right, is a long-term game. It's investing. It's the what generates your passive income. But in order to be able to make the passive income, you need to be buying those assets. And if you haven't got the money, that's where deal sourcing comes in. And so yeah, you shouldn't just do deal sourcing on its own. The key is what I'm doing is I'm using deal sourcing, my deal sourcing business, to make me the money that I can then invest into property. Okay, so deal sourcing for your income activity, and then property investing for your long term and your passive income, your retirement, and so on. So once we start building out an investor list, we then move on to step 4, which is finding good deals. Now, finding good deals, it really depends on what your investor wants, right? Do they want high cash flow or do they want high appreciation? What's their risk tolerance like? What's their budget like? This is where you need to really understand and ask a lot of questions to your investor, because until you ask these questions to an investor, you're never going to know what to look for. But generally speaking, how to find a good deal can be dependent on 3 things. There's a few more, but the main 3 things are: is it in a good area? So is it in a high capital growth? Is it near schools? Is it near hospitals or good transport links? That what essentially makes a good property in a good area. And then number 2 is, can you find below market value opportunities? Whether they're discounted, whether you're looking for motivated sellers. These are a few ways you can get below market value opportunities, even direct to vendor. And then the 3rd thing is how to add value to the property. Is it you can add an extension? Maybe you can, convert one of the garages into a room, or maybe you can fit a new kitchen, a new bathroom. So there's many ways to be able to do those things. But as long as you remember that they need to be in a good area, you need to add value to the property. And if you can find below market value opportunities, you're onto a winner. So we are at property number 3. So we are now at the 3rd property, which brings me to step number 5. Step number 5. So step number 4 was analyzing properties, which, to be fair, you can do most of it from home, right? Your laptop, your computer, or whatever. But guys, it comes to a point that there's only so much you can analyze, which brings me to the step 5 is viewing properties. Now, there's a lot of people who teach you or are teaching you stuff that, in order to make 10k a month, in order to start deal packaging, you can just work from your laptop. You can't. It's bullshit. Okay, if you come inside now, because unless you start viewing properties, right, unless you start building relationships, unless you start booking appointments with estate agents, you're never going to become proper deal sourcer. Okay, so I'll give you a perfect example. The property that we just visited, right, the 2nd property that we went to, was secured by a head buyer. It's because he had built a relationship with his agent. You can't build relationships with agents unless you physically go and see them. You cannot become a deal sourcer just by working remote or on your laptop. Maybe you can get away with purchasing 1 property or 2 properties, but you cannot build a significant income. To build a significant income, you have to be viewing properties, guys. Talking about viewing properties, let's view this one. So this one is going to be a full refurb. Originally, this was going to be a BRR to service accommodation, but the investor, because it's the first time he's working with us, I think he wanted to play a bit safer. So he's decided to convert this into a buy-to-let. It's a very spacious property. It needs a full refurb, a BRR, and we love BRR because we know if we deliver a good BRR project, the investor's gonna make money. If the investor makes money, we know they're gonna come back. So essentially, we always prefer BRR because we just know it's a better product than a standard buy-to-let. We very rarely do standard buy-to-lets, and it's for that reason, because if we already know that BRR is a better product, we want to make sure that we give that better product to the client, because then we know if you deliver on a good service, they're gonna come back again. They're gonna pay 6,000, 7,000, whatever it is again. Let's go upstairs. And upstairs again, it's quite spacious. Oh, that's me falling. I hope you got that on camera. Okay, so yeah, this is essentially the 3rd property. But yeah, guys, going back to viewing properties, you need to put the reputations in. You cannot expect to view 3 properties and think you're going to become a property sourcer. That's not how it works. If you want to make 10k a month, I repeat, making 10k a month from property sourcing is the most straightforward way in property. It's the most high margin way in property, but you still have to put the work in, guys. Where else, you tell me an income producing business, a job where you can just make 10k a month doing absolutely nothing. There is no business or there is no job where you can make 10k a month without putting in the work. And deal sourcing is no different.
But at least with deal sourcing, there is a straightforward path there. Let's go downstairs now.
Once you become comfortable with step number 5, viewing properties, and I repeat, you need to be putting in the reps in, right? Because you can only get quality if you're putting in the quantity or putting in the reps. Then there will come a point where you get onto step number 6, is securing a deal. So how do you secure a deal? Number 1 is obviously you'll have to view a lot of properties. Then you start putting offers in, right? And there's a saying, isn't there, that if you're not embarrassed by your offer, then it's not low enough, and it's completely true, right? You don't want to be putting in offers at asking price. You want to get it as discounted as possible, and you just have to accept that you're not going to get every offer accepted. In fact, most of your offers won't get accepted, but it comes down to consistency and putting in the reps, right? Keep doing it over and over again, and then eventually you will have an offer accepted, and that's where you get to secure the deal. Negotiate the price, secure the deal, and then the property is yours. But to secure the deal, just remember, guys, that you have to provide proof of funds. So always have that on standby, because the last thing you want to do is wasting time trying to get proof of funds. You need to go in with your offer with the proof of funds to show the estate agent or the vendor that you are a serious buyer. So we're just pulling up to the final property, and no surprises. Surprise, surprise, it's raining again in the northeast. Every time I'm seeming to record, it's always raining. You probably noticed. So we're in Gateshead, and Gateshead has a very soft place in my heart, simply because my very first BRRR property was in Gateshead, but that's the property over there. Shall we wait for the rain to stop, or shall we just wing it? Let's wing it. So we have a problem. Apart from the fact that it's raining, which it always does, we can't locate the keys. I'm called Mike now. We look like a bunch of amateurs, yeah, but if you can't find the keys, you can't find the keys. I'm going to go back in the car, we'll take a break, and let's see what's up. We might have to cancel the 4th house, guys. It doesn't work out, so... 1 second. Hello, Mike.
Hi, mate. I think Carolyn's got them. Her lads are at a different job, about half a mile away. I can get them to drop them off. Actually.
Yeah, no, it's fine, Mike. What we'll do is, you're actually on camera now anyway, so then no, it's not my fault. The keys, so so it's all good. No worries.
Okay, mate.
Okay, mate. Cheers.
Okay,
Okay, bye. Anyways, guys, I'll just tell you the story here, okay? So let me pull up the notes. The notes on this was, I'll pull up the stack-up sheet, which is probably more important. This property was purchased for £95,000, and this is one of those properties where the investor was willing to leave in a bit more cash on this property, simply because it's in a better area. They're going to appreciate more. So it's all about, you know, asking or finding out what the investor wants and delivering that product. If the investor wanted a higher cash flowing property or a higher cash flowing buy-to-let, this property wouldn't be the one. But because they're a bit more patient and they're willing to, you know, wait a bit longer for the appreciation, as a result, they're going to leave in a bit more money in the deal, but it's going to, you know, in the long term, it's going to work out better as an investment. I am very hungry now, guys. We get some food now. Yeah. Okay, so guys, whilst we're on the way to get some food, some Toby Carvery, step number 7 is, you know, close the sale and get paid. You know, the most exciting part, where you get paid, where you make the money. Just a few things there is, I think one of the most important things when you're working with an investor, right, and you're getting paid and you're closing the sale, is to set expectations, right? You never want to oversell, because at the end of the day, as Warren Buffett says, it takes you absolutely years and years to build a reputation and only a few minutes to destroy it. So the last thing you want to do is oversell, because investor ain't stupid. They're going to find out eventually, right? You may be able to take a one sale, but if you truly want to build a sustainable, long-term, profitable business in deal sourcing, you have to set expectations. Setting expectations, let them know, like, these are what the next steps are. This is where things can go wrong. This is where you've done your due diligence, but at the same time, these things aren't in your control. Always remember as well that your investor right now, if they're working with you for the first time and you're new, they're going to have doubts on you. They're not going to 100% trust you, and you have to accept that. But you should use that to your advantage and over deliver on your promise.
So we're just on the way to get some food now, and I want to now talk about step number 8. Now, I don't want to be one of those people that make out like making 10k a month it's easy, because nothing worthwhile is easy in life. You have to put the effort in, you have to remain consistent. Now, we've already talked about that, but as simple as it sounds, step number 8 is actually just taking the first step. Because I know a lot of you are there, you're watching my videos, you're watching other people's videos, but you just haven't taken the next step, right? There may be a bit of a fear of failure, there may be some even maybe doubts that whether this will work for you, but the reality is you will never know whether you're able to make 10k a month or not, or however much you want to make, is until you take the next step. You have to get comfortable getting uncomfortable, as silly as it sounds. So step number 8 is now to start taking action. You take action
by doing step number 1 is to get educated. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull up a video which is called I made £41,975 from these 6 properties that I don't even own. It explains deal sourcing in a bit more detail, and if it resonates with you, then watch few more other videos and hopefully build up your knowledge, build that confidence up, and that's it. That's exactly how it starts. That's how all good things start. You have to take the first step, guys. So take the first step, get educated, and I'll see you in the next video.